Danger? Here?
Leave you can. Go at once.
Have you the candles, Mrs. Piper?
Just getting them. You might need them. The lights go off here at times.
She's a poor dear, but loyal.
Is everything all right here? She spoke of danger.
Danger? Why, the poor thing. She was around a mystery writer for too many years.
I can't help wondering what your sister is like, Mrs. Bertram.
She was quite a dear in her own way, but she had a morbid streak in her that made her write all those awful murder mysteries and play outrageous pranks.
I do hope that you'll be able to manage now that she's gone.
I'm always managing my own Miss Camp. Genevieve was heavily insured, and I'm the beneficiary, so things will be easier now. I do inherit this place, but I want to sell it as quickly as possible.
Yes, it is a bit remote.
Sometimes not remote enough.
Should I get it, Mrs. Bertram?
No, I'll see who it is. Stay upstairs.
I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Bertram, but my car won't start.
Let's call a garage, and then maybe you can take Miss Camp back to town with you.
That would be fun.
Oh, yes, that won't be any trouble.
There's no dial tone. It's dead.
Oh dear, two of you stuck here?
I really am sorry about this.
I'll see to your room and make some tea.
Had you known Miss Carstairs long, Mrs. Mumford?
Yes, for over 10 years.
What about Mrs. Bertram?
I never met her before today. Genevieve did speak of her sister up on the coast from time to time. Miss Kent, do you have the feeling things aren't right here?
What do you mean?
Genevieve said secret death? It's so odd. And when I went out to start my car, I looked up, and in the second story window, I'm sure I saw...
Tea will warm her up, Mrs. Mumford.
How thoughtful of you.
Would you like a cup, Miss Kent?
No, thank you.
It's quite good. Amaretto tea.
I can't tell you how sorry I am to cause this inconvenience.
Sometimes it can't be helped. Our phone service is terrible up there.
Oh dear, what's happening? I feel so tired.
Are you all right, Mrs. Mumford?
Mrs. Piper, come quickly.
What's wrong now?
Mrs. Mumford isn't feeling well.
Oh, I'll put her down for a little nap.
Mrs. Piper is putting Mrs. Mumford down for a little nap. I can't imagine what happened to her.
When did you say that your sister died, Mrs. Bertram?
Friday, the 7th. Why do you ask?
Because there's a letter that she wrote in the night.
Let me see that. She made a mistake. She confused dates.
Are you sure?
Tell me, Miss Kent, do you always go around snooping in other people's houses?
No, but something's not right here.
Then leave!
How? Besides, I won't leave Miss Mumford alone.
You don't think she's in some kind of danger, do you?
Yes, I do.
That's insulting.
Miss Bertram, I don't think that your sister is dead.
How absurd. Just because of that letter?
No, the Bible. The death entry Miss Carstairs is written in her own handwriting.
That's my handwriting.
Miss Carstairs has a very distinctive signature. I have her letter. It's signed exactly like that.
That's ridiculous.
Mrs. Mumford!
Stay here. It's nothing. Nothing but a nightmare.
I'm frightened. Let me go up and see her.
Mrs. Piper will take care of her. She is in no danger.
Yes, she is. You drugged her tea.
I did no such thing.
Then drink this.
Where are you going?
Back to town. I'll walk if I have to.
Without Mrs. Mumford? Mrs. Piper! Mrs. Piper!
Surprise!
I love surprises.
Who are you?
You haven't guessed?
Miss Carstairs. Genevieve Carstairs?
Excellent.
What have you done with Mrs. Mumford?
Nothing. Yet.
She's sleepy like a baby.
She recognized you. That's why she screamed.
I tried to avoid that clever critic, but she wasn't quite under when I tossed her onto the bed. She's out now, though.
Why are you doing all this?
For money. My books don't sell anymore, and I ran out of ideas. died peacefully in her sleep on Friday. As I was about to call the hospital, I thought of my wonderful life insurance policies.
By playing dead, switching places with Mrs. Piper, your sister collects the insurance?
Also simple until you came along.
You couldn't trick a coroner.
Out here, I've never seen a doctor, and neither has Mrs. Piper. My sister identified her as Genevieve Carstairs. People out here are very trusting if there's no sign of foul play.
You won't get away with this.
Who will tell on us? You know from reading all my books, but I can't leave you alive now. You know too much.
No.
Just drink your tea, miss.
And when Mrs. Mumford's car goes over the cliff, neither of you will feel a thing.
Clever, don't you think?
Sorry we missed your funeral, but we'll be soaking up the sun on the beaches of Jamaica.
Just like my novel, Mystery of the Brutal Beneficiary, one of my best.
The insurance companies will find out.
I can cover my tracks. After all, I've written about such things for years.
You should have kept something secret, Genevieve.
Where'd you get that gun?
The hall table, remember? That's where you hid it in the Mystery of the Red Room.
Why,
You're out of ideas. Let Miss Kent go.
Are you all right, Mrs. Mumford?
how could she be? There was no tranquilizer in that tea to put an elephant under for a month.
I never drank a drop. The whole scene reminded me of the mystery of the vanished lady. I knew something was wrong from the start. And then I thought I saw you looking out the window as I went out to start my car. I had to come back and find out.
One of my faithful fans.
Would you call the police, Miss Kent?
Phone's dead, remember?
You took my word for it. I pointed out that same loophole in the mystery of the stormy night. I thought no one here would fall for that trick.
No one except for the author.
Poor Genevieve. You never were good at tying up loose ends.